I was up at 3 a.m. watching Happy Days reruns on TV, and I felt this surge of anger race through my body. In that moment, I realized I didn't want to die. I wanted to live. I wanted to fall in love, travel, see the world, and explore all of life. Then I remembered my mom had given me a cassette tape to listen to. It was this weird sound that played in both sides of my headphones. She said, "It'll help your brain heal." I figured it was just a weird thing my mom had said to help me pass the time, and I ignored it. But with my newfound urge to live, I decided to try it. By now, I'm sure you realize my mom was obviously not a typical mom. After all, I was sitting in bed, drinking vegetable juices and taking sea vegetation supplements rather than getting conventional cancer treatment. The thing is, none of that mattered to me. I just knew I was scared, sick, and wanted to either die or get better. So I decided, right then and there, to choose to live. I thought, why not? Maybe it's possible to heal, so why not try to believe? Then, the weirdest thing happened. I fell asleep for the entire night for the first time in 3.5 months while listening to the weird tone in my headphones. When I woke up the next morning, I was able to get out of bed and walk, something I hadn't been able to do easily in a long time. I could feel it. Something was different. I was getting better, and I knew it. Now, over the next few months, I continued getting better to the surprise and shock of everyone around me. I was listening to this same tone every day while teaching myself how to have only positive and affirming self-talk. It's like I was hypnotizing my brain to heal with the words I was using, on top of the tone, and for a 9-year-old kid, it felt like magic was abounding all around me. And over the course of the next few months, I made a miraculous recovery. Whatever was playing in my headphones literally saved my life. But the hardships weren't over. Just a few months later, my mom moved us from our big home in San Diego to Maui to open a healing retreat center. Here's a picture of us the morning we left San Diego for Maui. However, after just one day on the island, her business deal fell through, and we were left with absolutely nothing. So we ended up living in tents in the Iao Valley. This lasted a couple of years, and since my mom wasn't figuring out how to save us, I knew I needed to help the family get by. Then I was struck with an epiphany. I was surrounded by tropical fruits: starfruit, mangoes, papayas, coconuts, and tons more. So I asked the Iao Valley Lodge manager, Lee Hayden, if I could sell fruits at the entrance of the property, and he said yes. And without hesitation, I got on it. All the while, I was listening to that same tone and coming up with even more powerful self-talk. What's amazing is, I made over $20,000 over the next few years selling fruits and giving free tours to Japanese tourists without ever going back to school or having a tutor, without ever reading books, and without ever getting a high school diploma. Now, over the years, I started writing my own positive affirmation messages, or brain rewiring scripts, and I'd record them over the tone that was playing in my headphones. Now, I didn't know it yet, but I had just stumbled upon the most miraculous manifestation tool ever discovered. But I wanted to understand the science of what was actually happening inside my brain. So I started a deep dive into brain science. The first thing I discovered was the power of hemispheric brain synchronization. I know, that's a mouthful, and it sounds complicated, but it so isn't. Hemispheric synchronization is basically when the two sides of your brain work together instead of working against each other. And to achieve that, both sides of the brain must function at the same electrical frequency. Now get this. This is what your brain looks like on an EEG when the two sides of the brain are not in sync. This is essentially what it looks like when someone tries to manifest a better life, but the brain literally won't let you no matter how hard you try. But what does it look like when both sides of your brain are operating on the same frequencies? Well, it looks like this. Notice the amazing difference? Just wait till you experience it. I discovered that the brain becomes immeasurably more powerful when the two hemispheres are synced up. And it makes sense, right? No longer will you feel like you're in a battle inside your own mind. because when both sides of your brain work together, you'll feel like you're a superhero, like there's magic all around you, and you'll be able to control that magic as if you're the conductor of reality. You'll start to see attention create your reality right before your very eyes. Now here's why. Remember the editor, that is, your subconscious or conditioning? Well, he or she is dictating everything you have and don't have. In other words, the editor decides how that subatomic particle I showed you at the beginning of this presentation becomes your life experience. So the question is, how does this simple pair of headphones empower you to unleash your brain's superpowers, erase years of limiting programming, and help you turn that subatomic particle into anything you want, anytime you want? Again, it's brain science or neuroscience, because it turns out that the brain is not permanently hardwired. Not even close. In fact, our brain is capable of quickly unlearning limitation and rapidly becoming, well, unlimited. That's why reality is a question mark. In other words, your circumstances change as you grow and change, which means it's not about learning how to manifest. You already do that every second of every day. Instead, it's a matter of updating the software in the hardware of your brain. In a nutshell, here's how it works. The human brain has the amazing ability to reorganize itself by establishing new connections between brain cells. Your brain doesn't necessarily reshape itself like clay. It simply finds new ways to connect the dots. Neurologists call it neuroplasticity or brain plasticity. And here's the thing. It may take your brain months or even years of disciplined training to reprogram the editor, or it can take mere minutes. Because, get this, I discovered quite by accident that once an old, limiting belief is dissolved and rewritten in your subconscious, whatever toxic, scary, repetitive circumstances that limiting belief supports, well, those things simply stop appearing in your reality, like magic or some sort of miracle. Now, what constitutes a miracle? My take is when you can see something clearly in your mind and then that becomes your reality, well, that's a miracle. Because what you're really seeing is a direct link between your subconscious and what manifests in your experience of reality. If that's not a miracle, then I honestly have no clue what is. Now, I was so excited about this magic that I got way more into it. I replaced my mom's funky cassette with digital CDs. Then I began to manifest actual NLP and hypnosis experts. They just started showing up in my life. Again, like magic. So I hired them to co-write some incredible scripts with me, brain rewiring scripts that further transformed my life automatically. My little entrepreneurial empire skyrocketed, along with my bank account. My relationships flourished, and just like magic, abundance came to me and became a part of my life. Natural and true abundance that I was always wanting to have, but was previously rejected by the editor, without my conscious knowledge. That's how it is, how the editor in you has been automatically rejecting the abundance that belongs to you, abundance that is part of your natural state. Now, I want to make one thing perfectly clear. This isn't woo-woo, made-up, hocus-pocus nonsense. In fact, what I'm about to share with you is the gospel to some of the most revered quantum scientists in the entire world. Now, there's a really powerful reason I started off this presentation showing you that subatomic particle. It literally holds the secret to decoding reality. And when you truly get what I'm about to say, you'll never feel afraid about your ability to rapidly manifest anything you want ever again. And here's why. This subatomic particle holds everything you want and everything you don't want. And here's the kicker. You can only get something new from this subatomic particle if you stop observing what is and direct your attention towards only what you really want. Easier said than done, right? Because the editor is forcing you to focus on what you don't want, remember? Here's why this is so important. In quantum physics, there are two main forms of energy, the wave and the particle. The wave is when everything exists in pure possibility. The particle is, well, what reality is right now. And there's a third component to the wave and the particle. It's you, your attention, because it's the observer who collapses the wave, or possibility, into the particle, or reality. That's not my opinion. That's quantum science fact. Now that's really important to hear, so let me say again, your attention is what manifests your reality, not your intentions, hopes, wishes, declarations, or affirmations. And since your attention has been dictated by a negatively conditioned subconscious, or your editor, is it really any surprise that you still haven't achieved your dreams or anywhere close to them? Here's the bottom line. If your subconscious won't let you take your attention away from what you don't want, how can your circumstances ever return to a state of unlimited possibility? That is, the wave mode. Again, this is super important, so I'll ask the same question another way. How can you replace your current circumstances with what you really want, like more money, loving relationships, and a constantly expanding reality, if your attention literally won't let you? Well, I answered that question. It's called 15-minute manifestation, and it's the very last manifestation tool you'll ever need. Now, the reason 15-minute manifestation works is simple. It helps dissolve your old, limiting beliefs and replaces them with new, empowering ones without you having to learn anything at all, because it's, believe it or not, easy to directly access the editor and update its software. In fact, the editor is directly accessed by way of the tone you've been hearing throughout this entire presentation. The tone is called theta, and it's the specific brainwave that acts like a portal to speak directly with your subconscious. Now, once we open the door to the editor, it's receptive to taking on new programming. So when we feed this brainwave frequency through your headphones, it's like Neo from the Matrix, getting a download and instantly learning Kung Fu. This stuff is literally better than having your own genie in a bottle, because your subconscious is the genie. Now, when the full weight of that hit me, I realized that the secret to manifestation wasn't some mystical woo-woo mythology. It was brain science. I was floored. I finally got how I had been manifesting or creating my reality all along.